Hello, this is Idodmg and welcome back to the channel. In this Titan Quest 2 video, I want to talk to you about the new update that they just announced a few hours ago. They're going to be adding in Chapter 2 and opening the gates to the northern beaches. Along with that's going to be new bosses, new secrets, new monsters. But the biggest thing I'm really excited for here is new skills for every single mastery. Let's go ahead and break it down for you right now. Chapter 2, as I said, is going to add in 3 new bosses. That's going to bring up the amount of farmable bosses up to a total of 7. That'll be a pretty nice touch. They're also going to add in new secrets, new puzzles, and I'm speculating new items as well that we can build around. But the biggest thing, as I mentioned here, is the skills for every single mastery. And again, I'm hoping this video is short and sweet for you today. The very first mastery I want to talk about here is the Storm Mastery. They're focusing again on ice and cold, chill, freeze type of damage, which is interesting because one of the most overpowered builds historically and has been nerfed, but is the Ice Shards build. And over here, they're going away from that, and instead they're going into an area over time ability here. They're going to be adding in Frostbite. Now, before I jump into all the skills here, it's worth pointing out the big thing they're going to be adding here is the 4th tier of skills and passive abilities. Now, if you haven't played Titan Quest 2, whenever you complete a certain quest, there's different quests, different parts in the story. I'm trying to not spoil too much. And then once you level up and stuff, you're going to get these, I believe they're called divinity points in there. You can correct me in the comments if I'm wrong. That's totally fine. But they're called divinity points, I believe. And you use these points kind of like your mastery bar, basically, to level up and unlock different tiers of abilities. Now, up until this point, we've only had the first 3 tiers unlocked. And this new update is going to unlock that 4th tier. And that's why we're seeing so many new abilities here. Anyway, back to the Storm Mastery. They're going to be adding in Frostbite. This is a frost ground AoE, and it ticks and deals damage over time. And then if the monster is in the area, it will deal damage building up over 3 seconds. And after 3 seconds, there'll be an explosion. Now you can modify this ability with one in there called Frost Explosion. This is going to be that whenever a monster is frozen, it will explode. You can take it even further with Cold Snap, which will consume freeze to do another explosion. This build seems pretty interesting with all of these frost explosions happening. Now they're also adding in a new passive called Deep Freeze. This is going to unlock a new mechanic called Chill Freeze. Basically what this is going to do is your chilled targets have a chance to be frozen, and that's important since everything that when it's frozen is what causes and triggers those explosions with this frost build. This seems pretty interesting. I can't wait to see what we can do with it. Next up, we have the Earth Mastery. One of the new skills they're going to be adding is Stone Form. This is a defensive cooldown, and what's going to happen here is you can't move for, I believe it's 3 seconds, but you take 50% less damage. There's some other, I believe there's health regen on there as well, but you can pick up one of the modifiers to make it so that you can actually channel during the Stone Form ability here. This is going to be massive for the Earthquake build that I was working on, but I put off to the side because it felt a little bit too weak here. There's going to be so much with this build, and I'm really curious to try it all out. But you're going to have your Stone Form, and there's going to be another new skill called Volcanic Eruption. This is a ground AoE. It ticks every second. Basically, what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to put out your Volcanic Eruption, and then you're going to use your Stone Form and then start channeling Earthquake, so that while you're channeling and building up your Earthquake, that Volcanic Eruption is also dealing damage over time in that AoE. Volcanic Eruption has some other pretty cool modifiers to it as well, but I just wanted to kind of give a nice little overview of those 2 new Earth abilities, Stone Form and Volcanic Eruption, and how I think they're going to really factor into the Earthquake setup. Next up, we have the Warfare Mastery. They're going to be adding in a new skill called Valor. This is a 6-second buff. It's going to increase your movement speed and increase your damage. After 6 seconds, you're going to have a window of 0.7 seconds where the sword that's above your head will fall down and deal damage. But it also will deal damage to you. But you have a 0.7 second window to dodge out of it before it hits the ground. So that could be an interesting build, especially trying to time it perfectly so that that sword will actually hit the monsters and then you yourself avoid the damage. It could be pretty interesting there. Valor has some pretty fun modifiers. The first one is Frenzy. This is going to increase that damage buff even more, but it will make it so you take more damage as well. There's also another modifier called Sword of Damocles. Hopefully I said that correctly. But basically what this is going to do is it's going to make that sword drop deal even more damage, but it also deals more damage to you. And this is why you're going to want to pick up a bunch of different defensive layers from your passive abilities, as well as I believe there's an aura type ability that reduces pierce damage taken, which is the type of damage that this falling sword will deal. So I think you'll be able to outplay it, and this should be a pretty fun, bursty build, I think. They're going to be adding a new passive here called Frenzied Rage, and this is going to buff up the rage effect even more. So if you've been following my build guides, anything that uses rage is going to benefit even more from the Warfare Mastery here. Lastly, the one I haven't mentioned yet is Rogue. They really haven't shown much about Rogue. I guess they wanted to leave a little bit more for us to explore. At least that's what I'm hoping. But on Steam at the very end of the update here, it says Rogue Mastery's latest tricks. Not entirely sure what that's going to mean, but we'll find out tomorrow. A couple of closing thoughts here. I'm really looking forward to this update. And honestly, when I saw that this update was coming out tomorrow, it just brought like tears to my eyes of joy. I absolutely love Titan Quest 2, and I love the builds. I love exploring the world. It's just such a fun game. I haven't felt this way about a game in a very long time. But all that out of the way, let's go ahead and talk about here and some closing thoughts on what is coming. So 3 new bosses. It's going to bring the total of farmable bosses up to 7. That'll be pretty nice. I hope some of the bosses have some chests in their arena as well, like the Pan boss, for example. I do wish they had reworked the Pan boss fight, because right now you can just chest farm. I wish that that chest was locked until you killed Pan, and then when you resummon the boss, it would resummon the chest, and you could just farm the boss and the chest over and over type of thing. I'd really like to see that for some of the more challenging boss fights, I guess, that they have kind of an extra thing instead of just the loot that the boss drops. But we'll see what these 3 new bosses are going to be. They did show one in the update deep dive. I'm not showing it to you because I don't want to give away the spoiler in case, you don't want to spoil it for yourself. But the whole new chapter, as I said, I'm hoping it's as big as Chapter 1. I had so much fun exploring Chapter 1 and all the secrets. In fact, there was 1 or 2 secrets that I didn't even discover until after 100 hours played. Yeah, I have over 100 hours played in early access. That's how much I really like this game. But along with it, there's going to be new secrets, puzzles, and hopefully new items as well that we can build around. There's so many new build ideas, and just in creating this build alone, obviously we already thought of the 2 new builds with your Valor and then your Cold build. And I guess the third could be that Earthquake build as well. Can't wait to get my hands on it, and hopefully you guys are enjoying the Titan Quest 2 content here on the YouTube channel. And that's going to wrap it up for this Titan Quest 2 Chapter 2 preview video. Hopefully you found this video useful and or entertaining. If so, don't forget that like button and subscribe to the channel if you think I've earned it. Please consider becoming a YouTube channel member today and unlock some pretty fun perks, such as behind the scenes, bloopers that I find while editing, and early access to videos when I release a whole big batch. Don't forget, your view alone means the absolute world. As always, thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.